So this is what I don't understand, Susie, because
Okay.
I'm from the Midwest.
Yes, I
I'm
know.
from Chicago.
I know what you're gonna say.
I know. So all of your photos, you
Mhm.
mostly travel in the fall and winter
Mhm.
to really cold places.
Yes, even better.
And yeah, and I moved from Chicago to LA to get away from all that. So share with us your love of snow and cold and winter. Like, what does this mean for you?
I know people think I'm strange. I think maybe you can take the girl out of Oregon, but you can't take the Oregon out of the girl. Not like we would have extreme weather like you had in the Midwest, of course. But I don't know. I guess maybe after all these years, I love to travel to places that have a different climate than what, as you said, we're blessed to have beautiful weather here basically all year round. So rather than go to a beach when we have beautiful beaches here, I'd rather experience snow and weather. And I think climate changes people when you have seasons. I think people, at least I find when I go back to Oregon, I remember, people in the summer are just like joyous and happy, and they're out till 11 p.m. with their children. And it's because they obviously, the winter makes them appreciate the summer. So I think I miss that. I definitely love seasons. So um, a couple other reasons: very inexpensive to travel in the winter, especially. We've just the
Yeah.
last 4 years started traveling mainly in February. You can get a selfie and a great picture with nobody in the background. Play museums are completely empty. You're not hot and sweaty. So there's all kinds of other reasons we love to travel in the winter. But I guess I love having a different type of climate than what we really experience here every day in San Diego.
And as we get to know you, Susie, you are a mom of 5, and you've done a lot of traveling
Hmm.
with the kids through the years.
Yes.
So, tell us about the wonderful part and maybe the challenging part of such things.
Yes, there's definitely both parts. When my husband and I got married, we have blended our family. So I have a son, and he has 4 kids. And when we started traveling with them, our youngest was 4. So the first overseas trip that we took, our youngest was 4 and our oldest was 11. And I guess the biggest challenge when you have a family of 7 is obviously cost. So it's expensive to fly 7 people anywhere, but especially overseas. But the first couple of years, we really just, when he and I would travel, if we found somewhere we really loved, we would take our kids back. So we'd actually revisit that place. And all of our kids today, they're now 19 to 26. They're all avid travelers. They love to travel. But growing up, we pretty much planned a major trip every other year overseas so we could save up. We learned how to crunch 5 kids into a very small European hotel room. We aren't really tour people, so we did a lot of stuff on our own and created our own itineraries. And I think that helped save a lot of money. But I we were horrible parents when they were little, and we would take them out of school to travel because we generally be gone for a week at most, or maybe 10 days. And we just felt traveling, especially when they were very young, was as good of an education as they were getting in school, and an easier time when they're that young to take them out of school. They would take their work with them. But for us, summer was really not an option because it's so much more expensive to travel to those places in the summer. So we generally traveled with them like in September. But once they got into high school, everything changed because of course they have sports commitments. School was much harder. So we then kind of changed and would travel with our kids at Christmas time, which again can be, depending on where you go, an affordable time to travel. But it has been ingrained in our family from day one, and I love to see them now as adults that's a big part of their life.
So, as a mom myself, and I
Yes.
know that there's a lot of people out there that say, I want to travel, I want to travel. I have kids, it's too expensive. How do I manage the timing? So, maybe share with us, like, what are some pieces of advice? Like, I like the idea about going in winter
Hmm.
because of the cost factor.
Hmm.
What other tips would you have, or what would you say to those, parents who say, I just can't do this? I've got kids right now.
I guess first and foremost, don't be afraid. I mean, we went to Morocco. Everyone thought we were insane when our youngest was 5 or 6, and they thought we were crazy. So I guess the first thing is don't be afraid. It's I think everywhere now, and especially the world we live in, is so accommodating to families, no matter where you go. So I think don't put in your mind that it's going to be difficult. It really doesn't have to be difficult. Even the long flights don't have to be difficult. We used to, back in the days, we before kids had screens like they do now. I mean, we would just pack backpacks full of everything to keep them occupied and books. And so I don't ever think we had any issues flying. And I think just keeping them busy. So when we would get to a location, we would say, we're not paying all this money for you to sit in the hotel room all day. So it was like, get up, get going. Jet lag was never an issue. And I think the other thing is finding hotels that included breakfast, especially for bigger families, was a great way that we saved money. And then we generally would have one bigger meal during the day and buy lots of stuff that we could have in the hotel room. So we saved a lot, I think, on meals that way. But we always involved the kids in the planning of our trip to really get them excited about the trip. So they were always just ready for the adventure, to be honest with you. And I really don't. We had 5, so other than we had one daughter that got lost by the Spanish Steps for about a heartbeat, and we thought we were going to die. But in the crowd, but other than that, we honestly, touch wood, have never had a bad experience. And the kids have been to with us probably about 12 or 13 different countries.
Our guest today is Susie Day, and you can look her up online. Again, she is a legend on Twitter. You'll find her there at Susie Day 123. And anybody in the travel tribe knows who Susie Day is. Susie,